Hey guys, Dave Mason here from The Niche Lifestyle, coming to you from Raby Bay in Brisbane, Queensland. I just want to give you a quick scan of the area so you know where I'm sitting and working from. I got given a message the other day, and the guy had wanted to talk, or he mentioned an issue that he had. He said, I watched your recent video, you pretty well much nailed me, eh? First, I'm that guy, not 19 years but 10. Applied for other roles, still there. Second is, my biggest fear is falling and faulting to people's expectations, whether it's family or friends. I know I need change, I just don't know how. I want to start by answering that with a quote, and it's by a guy called Arthur Burt. He says, nothing happens until the pain of change, until the pain of remaining the same outweighs the pain of change. My personal perspective of that is, until the pain of the grind or the issue or the problem or whatever it is you're doing outweighs the need for change, nothing happens. And that'll be answered when I talk about a couple of other things. So I now want to talk about the 5 stages of change, because then it becomes more obvious as to when I come back to this message. So the 5 stages of change, the theoretical version of stage 1 is pre-contemplation. Layman's terms, it's where information is given or received. Number 2 stage, and this is where we spend 80% of our time deciding on whether change is warranted. It's called the contemplation stage, or it is where we receive that information and we start reviewing that information. Number 3 is understanding and coming up with a plan of action to do or not to do. Number 4 is initiating a plan. At some stage you decide whether you're going to act on this information that's been given, and this is the stage where you start to act on it. Number 5 is doing it, and for me, layman's terms, is where things that you start to do when you initiate change become the norm. Okay, so if I give you an example of my work in dealing with poor performance, change management. Stage 1, I sit the person down and let's just say it's poor performance, and I give them that information. That's stage 1. Stage 2 is where we negotiate, debate, argue over the relevancy of that information. Now, anyone who's going through change knows that this is where we spend 80% of our time. If we're going through changes in life, going through changes in job, going through changes in sporting teams, any change, we spend 80% of it analysing, reviewing and weighing up the pros and cons to see whether or not change is warranted or even needed. Number 3, there's always a plan of action. In times gone past, when I've warned somebody for poor performance, usually there's the union involved, or they decide to accept the consequences and go through due process. Number 4 is where we act on it. We either come to an agreement about the performance and the person changes their performance, or they stay the same. So number 5 is where it's been accepted and we just contemplate and we just move through the process. So those are the 5 stages of change. Now, if we get back to the message that was sent to me the other night, I can only say that in dealing with change and change management, until the pain, and it has to be pain where, the pain of the everyday, or the pain of being ignored, the pain of being neglected, the pain of being pushed aside for other people, where you've gone for opportunities and you get knocked back, until that pain is more painful than the need to change. Now, the change could be, upgrading yourself, upskilling yourself, or even challenging the status quo. Getting knocked down 7 times, getting knocked back 7 times, getting up 8 times. The only thing I can say here is that until that pain of doing the norm, of accepting the status quo, of accepting your circumstance, is way more painful than the need to change, upskill, challenge, nothing is going to happen. You have to be prepared to fight, to challenge, to ensure that change happens. So I hope that that little spiel about the 5 stages of change hits home, becomes relevant. And if it does, by all means, hey, share this message, comment. I prefer if you share, but comment. If you've got questions, by all means ask. So here's Dave from the Niche Lifestyle for today, and I'll see you again next week. Catch ya.